changing, we're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more, no more complaining people. Their lives are changing, we're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more, no more.
I am so amped to talk about this. Is going to be something about in the new version of my book. I talked to my agent the other day, and it looks like there will be a new version of Complaint-Free World coming out very soon. By soon, I mean probably 16 months. Okay. 18 at the outside. But I'm very excited to talk about this because I noticed something, and I want to just say his name because I love the guy. And if he's watching, and I know he's not, I just want to own this straight up front. My pickleball coach, Scott, he's just an amazing guy, and he is 100% focused on coaching. And I had a lesson with him last night. And when I was done, I was drenched with sweat, and it was a fairly cool evening. But he makes it's never any chit chat. It is work, 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 work for 90 minutes on particular skills, which is great. We had arranged a pickleball lesson the night before. So last night was Thursday. This would have been Wednesday. And I was driving up and down the islands Wednesday running errands. I was in, Tavernier Alamorada driving up and down the Keys. And all day it looked like it was going to rain. I mean, it really looked like it was going to come down. And living on this long, skinny island as I do, a dark patch of clouds can pass over just, a small patch can go over one area and soak it. I mean, soak it, like flood the streets, and then there'll be nothing a mile ahead, a mile up north or a mile south. But I'm driving up and down the islands, the first three rocks, and there's no rain. So we get there and it looks the least like it's going to rain all day. It just looks fine. And Scott says, I'll bet you the minute we get the net put up, it's going to start raining. And I thought, well, inside I'm thinking, well, I affirm that it is not going to rain. We're going to have perfect weather. And I just wanted to continue to listen to him. I'll bet you it's going to happen. I will bet you. We put up the net, and I mean, you put everything together, and then there's one last little centerpiece that goes up. And Scott put in that last little centerpiece. I'm going to have to take a sip of water. And you already know the outcome. The skies opened up. It started pouring rain, and it continued. We talked about, we ran and got undercover, took our stuff and got undercover. And he said, oh, it's only going to last 10 minutes. But for the first several minutes, because we were in kind of a not tight space, but we were standing kind of close by. He's like, I absolutely told you it was going to rain. I knew it was going to rain. And I thought to myself, I know Scott. Scott is a very upbeat, optimistic guy. He's an entrepreneur. He loves pickleball. He's a coach, just a cool guy. And he has his own pickleball paddle company. Think about that. How many people, when they start playing, are like, this is good, but I can do better. And he has a pickleball paddle company. So if you know anybody who plays, and I know we get thousands of views of these, check out DING. Dink with a G before the K. All right. So I'm the world authority on complaining, right? Is he complaining? I would say yes, but there's no complaint shame here. Right? We don't do complaint shaming. We try and figure it out, because this is probably the number one thing that I hear from people around the world. You get on an elevator and the elevator happens to get stuck, and by a second, you know what I mean? The door takes a few seconds to open, and somebody gets on and goes, I'll bet you that elevator door is going to stick again. And then they love to go, right? See, I told you, right? So when Scott did this, it didn't bother me at all. It gave us something to talk about. I really wanted to analyze this because I hear this all the time. People saying things like, with my luck, this will happen, or I'll bet you XYZ will happen. Do I, in my crazy mind, feel that Scott in some way had contributed to the rain? Maybe. I do. I truly believe that we live in a made to order universe. Again, though, does not matter. I enjoyed standing there talking to him, getting to know more about his company. In fact, I want to interview him here on JumpStart one day. And I tried to figure out, because there's only 5 reasons. Robin Kowalski at Clemson University figured out that there are only 5 reasons people complain. Then I took those 5 reasons and put them to easy to remember acronyms: get attention, remove responsibility, inspire envy, power, and excuse poor performance. And again, I hear this all the time from people. I'll bet with my luck. I'll show you. It's going to go. I'll bet you. All right. Why do people do this? This is my best shot, and I think this is good, and it's going in my book. Number one, as you know, we have a negativity bias. It's easier for us to say and healthier for us to say no than it is for us to say yes. We are alive because our ancestors said no to a lot more things than they said yes. We have a negativity bias. We intentionally, initially don't trust other people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that keeps us alive. All right. So there's that. So it is easier and more comfortable to say, I will bet you it's going to rain on us as soon as I put up the net, instead of saying, I'll bet the weather's going to go right over us, because we would rather be wrong on the negative side than be wrong on the positive side. We feel naive and foolish when we're wrong on the positive side, but we feel relieved and okay when we're wrong on the negative side. It's kind of interesting, isn't it? The second thing is, I was trying to figure out, where does such a statement fall, right? If people complain for 5 reasons: get attention, remove responsibility, inspire envy, power, and excuse poor performance. Gripe, 5 reasons. If people complain for 5 reasons, then where does, I'll bet you as soon as we get such and such. Another one that I hear at the airport is, I'll bet as soon as we get on the plane, all the overhead bin space is going to be taken. I'll bet you. You just watch. It always happens. By the way, I've taken to affirming the things I want to happen and saying, I bet you it's going to work out great. I'll bet this, I'll bet that. So where does it fall? Where does this statement fall? Here's what I figured out. All 5. Depending, it's like a, listen to the thunder. I love it. It's thundering and lightning here. Where does this one fall? It falls under all 5. This is like a Swiss Army knife of complaints. Here's why. You can say it just to get attention, just to talk to somebody, right? Remember getting attention? That was my really big thing when I was really into complaining myself and didn't realize it. Just want to get attention, just want to be noticed. You know what? I'll bet you the absolute worst thing is going to happen. We're going to have a real Murphy's Law situation here. It's just a way. Get attention doesn't mean, hey, notice me. It means talk to me. It means I'm trying to engage you in a conversation. If you were here right now, I would talk to you about the beautiful rain. You know, it's a way of engaging somebody. We need to get the ball going, like in pickleball, right? Somebody's got to serve the ball. So it gets attention by just talking about it. The second thing is maybe remove responsibility. And in that case, it could have been, I don't want to complain, shame Scott. I love Scott. I'm trying to just paint a picture here. And that is that remove responsibility might have been, you know what, I was responsible, or we were responsible, of course. But you know what, if we thought it that much that it was going to rain, then we should have just rescheduled, right? Let's remove ourselves from responsibility. The third case, and how did I come up with this one? Brag. I get it now. Inspire envy. The person gets to be a prognosticator and then brag about it, right? especially if you're betting on the negative. Then afterwards, you get to see, I told you, I told you. And that's what Scott was saying. And he was enjoying his moment. Again, poor Scott. I'm using him as a lab monkey here, and he doesn't know this, but why? It's just the most recent example of something I hear all the time. Power. How does this power? Here, not in this case, but in some cases, you can say, I'll bet you as soon as we do such and such, it's not going to work out. And in that way, convince other people to do something or not to do something. Power is always about getting other people to do or not to do something. And so you can complain saying, I'll bet you as soon as you do this. It's a great way of talking people out of something. And power is simply influencing another person. And lastly, the E, the excuse poor performance. This would be, again, when you've made a decision to go forward with something, but you start complaining about unforeseen circumstances as a way of saying, you know what, it's not my fault that I made this choice or followed this course of action. So as you can see, I'm getting to flesh this out live with you, and I still stand by it. It is a Swiss Army knife of being able to connect with other people, because remember, there's nothing wrong with complaining. It's just like there's nothing wrong with emotions. All right. There's nothing wrong with feelings. Feelings simply are. The reasons people complain, well, I take that back. There are a lot of things wrong with complaining because we know it's bad for your health. It's bad for your relationships, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The point is that people do it simply in a neutral way. They are trying to get their social needs met. Being trapped in a tight space with a guy you hardly know, having something to talk about breaks the ice and makes it a much cooler vibe, you know? And so we complain to get our social needs met. And that is a normal thing, to want to get our social needs met. What we want to do is to begin to work on affirming things that are good. When we scheduled our next appointment to play, I said, I affirm that we're gonna have good weather. And we did. We had about an hour or so, a pocket of really good weather. And boy, did I have a great lesson. So I recommend Scott. I recommend his paddles. Check them out. He's, like I said, this is from a guy who plays every single day. He makes paddles for players, and just a great guy. Dink, DINGK.com. And Scott, if you did watch this or someone forwarded it to you, I just want you to know that I don't see anything wrong with who and what you are. And thanks for being a good sport and allowing me to use you as an example.
No more complaining people. Their lives are changing. We're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more complaining people. Their lives are changing.